All right, here we go. Let's get fired up. I just took the biggest risk of my life. I am no longer pursuing a career as an aerospace program manager. I put my house up for sale and I made the move from Durham, North Carolina to Philadelphia in pursuit of a full-time career in baseball. And now currently I am the pitching coach for the Malaysia national baseball team. You heard that right. Malaysia has baseball. Hi, my name's Jimmy Smiley and I'm currently the Malaysian national team pitching coach. We are getting ready for the 2025 Southeast Asian Games in Bangkok, Thailand in November and December. And I wanted to share with you guys and document my journey as the pitching coach, share with you how I got here, and kind of document the struggles, limitations, obstacles of remote training for pitching out in Malaysia and the obstacles and limitation of training for baseball in a country like Malaysia where baseball isn't super popular. A little bit about me before we get into it. I started off in high school in Los Angeles as a pretty good baseball player. I was probably topping 80 miles per hour. That really limited the amount of schools that I could apply to and actually play at. And I ended up making the decision to start my collegiate career in a school called Whitman College in Walla Walla, Washington. Yes, I know Walla Walla is a mouthful, but that's actually where I went and it's a real town. I chose Whitman College because I wanted to study engineering and they had this amazing program called the 3-2 program. I don't even know if it exists anymore, but you do 3 years at Whitman College and then 2 years at Columbia as long as you meet the criteria and make your grades. So I started off there in 2015, the fall of 2015, and I actually got injured my freshman year and severely strained my labrum. So I was dealing with that for the whole year, kind of rehabbing and just trying to get back into it. Ended up redshirting that whole entire year. And then the next 2 years at Whitman College, I started, relieved. I ended up being a redshirt sophomore captain my last year there. And it was a phenomenal experience, a great school. I loved all of my teammates there. The coaches were great. And then I transferred to Columbia University in New York. I started off at Columbia in the fall of 2018. I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to walk on the team. And after making it past 3 rounds of pitcher cuts in the fall, I ended up making the roster for the spring team in 2019. Ended up pitching a decent amount for them, just kind of coming out of the pen, eating innings wherever they needed me. And I was also a bullpen catcher, which was kind of cool. My thought was I kind of want to make this team and contribute in any way possible. I know I'm not a superstar sitting in the low 80s, so let me bullpen catch, let me do anything to just be a good teammate there. So I had a pretty good spring. It was a phenomenal experience. I loved all of it. The higher level play was amazing. And I ended up playing in the Northwoods League that summer of 2019. I went out there and it was probably my best summer out of all 5 summers that I played summer baseball. And I was actually a Northwoods League All-Star out there and ended up pitching in a third of the games that our team had out of the pen. And it was great. Because I made the All-Star team out in Waterloo, I got invited to the MLB draft. Now, I didn't think I was going to get drafted sitting in the low 80s, but it kind of fueled my passion and drive to maybe play professionally somewhere. So when I got back to school in 2019, I worked hard. Obviously, the spring of 2020, we know what happened there with COVID, and especially the Ivy Leaguers know because we were the first league to shut down all spring sports. So that kind of was a wash. I was already in the grad program at Columbia for 2021. I decided to finish my degree there and pursue opportunities, ending my college career, but pursuing opportunities to play professionally. So in the middle of spring 2021, while I was still at school at Columbia, I actually signed a contract to go play out in the Czech Republic. I basically emailed all my teachers, said, see ya, I gotta go work. I'll finish off the classes remotely. And I hopped on a plane, went out to the Czech Republic in the middle of COVID and had an amazing experience out there playing with all the Czech guys in the Extraliga. And it was amazing and a great cap to my baseball career. After the Czech Republic, I moved to Durham, North Carolina with my now fiance, and she started her career in the RTP area, and I started my career as an aerospace program manager, putting my mechanical engineering degrees and physics degrees to use. And during those 3 years as an aerospace program manager, I was still coaching baseball. I coached youth baseball for a year, and then I coached 2 college summers of college summer ball in the Old North State League in North Carolina. So I was kind of just trying to scratch that itch. And then in the winter of 2024, in the beginning of December, I actually got laid off from my job. Our company was struggling a little bit, and they had to make some cuts. It stung. but it was a push for me to go pursue my dream and fully scratch that itch of trying to work in baseball. So that the week I got laid off, I actually hopped in my truck, bought a camper shell off of Facebook Marketplace for my truck, slept in my truck, and drove from North Carolina all the way out to Dallas for the winter meetings. At the winter meetings, I had a great time. It was amazing meeting so many great people. I made a lot of connections, interviewed for a couple of jobs, applied to some more jobs, and met up with some former teammates and some former Columbia alumni, and ultimately had a great time, and it was a great introduction into working in baseball. After the winter meetings ended, I ended up actually deciding to just drive out to LA because I had nothing really going on, being laid off from work. And it was a great drive from Durham to Dallas to LA. Gave me tons of hours of just driving, sitting behind the wheel, thinking and contemplating my decision to pursue baseball, and to make sure it kind of wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. And by the time I actually arrived in Los Angeles to see my parents, it was pretty much set in stone, and I kind of made up my mind by then. So it was great. After Los Angeles, I kept applying for jobs, I kept filling out questionnaires, and I kept interviewing and just doing as much as I could to possibly get an affiliated job. I actually drove back from LA to the East Coast to spend Christmas and New Year's with my fiance, and I ultimately fell short of getting a job in affiliated baseball. And it was because I was a little bit late to the game, starting my application process and applying in December, and my resume and portfolio kind of weren't polished up enough, and I didn't have enough work product to kind of show that I was capable of working in baseball. So I started looking at other options, and I actually found a job opportunity at Tread Athletics in Charlotte, North Carolina. The whole interview process at Tread and ultimately accepting a position as a data intern there was kind of a whirlwind, and kind of took me by surprise after, not really getting anything on the affiliated side. I came out probably 3 days after I applied and drove all the way down to Charlotte, 2.5 hours, interviewed for 45 minutes. And then on my way back, I actually got the email saying that I had been accepted and that it was my position if I wanted it. And I went home super jazzed about it. Obviously, working at one of the top 2 facilities in the United States is a big deal, and probably one of the best opportunities for baseball, people pursuing a career in baseball outside of working in affiliated jobs. That night coming home from Tread, I had to make a decision with my fiance, and we ultimately devised a plan where I'd go out to Tread during the weeks, come home on the weekends because it's 2.5 hours away. And considering that I was out of a job and just making intern money, I actually slept in my truck for those whole 3 months. Drove out, slept in my truck in a Cracker Barrel parking lot for the week, and then drove back Friday. And it was honestly the best 3 months. So I asked a coach that was a mutual friend of mine to help me out and kind of give me some programming, some weightlifting. And I asked an intern and another person on the data team to catch my bullpens, play catch with me, take a look at my mechanics, kind of go through the training process with me. And I ended up PRing my velocity while I was there. In college, I hit 86 one time in game, and it was my last year at Columbia, one time. Fast forward 4 years and 3 months, and the 3 months at Tread, I ended up hitting 90 miles per hour in my last bullpen, and I was sitting 88 to 90 with decent command, and it was amazing. And I learned so much at Tread. While I was in Charlotte, I reached out to the head coach of the Malaysian national baseball team. I am myself half Malaysian. My mom was born and raised in Malaysia and came here for college and then stayed in the United States. So I was trying to explore some opportunities of maybe playing and representing them. And I had been in contact with them since 2019 when the idea kind of first popped into my head. But since I'm not a citizen of Malaysia, I can't play for the national team quite yet. Maybe the rules will relax, or there might be a way for me to get in there and play. But since he said no, I can't play, I asked him if I could coach. I told him, hey, I'm at Tread, sent him some video of me improving, and kind of told him that I've learned a lot here, and I kind of want to help the Malaysian team evolve into something better and kind of make the sport a little bit more popular in Malaysia by doing well in the Seas games. And he said yes. After I was done with Tread in June, I actually had a trip planned to Malaysia already. So I messaged the coach, said, hey, I'd love to meet you out there, meet you in person, shake your hand, and he was super nice. He took me and my fiance out to dinner. We talked some baseball. We got some paperwork done, some passport photos, and committed to coaching the Malaysian national team in the Southeast Asian Games in Bangkok in December. So that's how I got that opportunity. When I got back from Malaysia, my fiance and I were planning on trying to make a move somewhere, and she ended up getting a new job in Philadelphia. And we decided that there were going to be more opportunities for me to work here and a better space for her biomedical engineering degree to be put to use. So a lot more opportunities in Philly. And when we got back from Malaysia, we actually picked up everything the day after we got back, threw it all in a U-Haul in my truck and my fiance's car, and drove all the way up to Philly, 7 hours, and moved in that next day after Malaysia. And here we are now. So that's kind of my story. I am super excited to share my journey with you as the Malaysian national pitching coach. And I'm excited to document our journey as we prepare for the Southeast Asian Games in Bangkok, Thailand. So stay tuned. I'll be videotaping as much as I can and sharing as much as I can, and kind of going through the day-to-day with how it is as a pitching coach remotely for a national team. So thanks.